Hello there everybody and welcome back to Ys. Last video we came back from Raston Mine. We finished off in Minia and we returned Rhea her silver harmonica which we found in the mine. I left things off with Rhea. However, there is one more thing that I want to do with her before we go along and move on to something else. Out on the world map, using our treasure box key, we open up a treasure chest with a piece of paper, and this pertains to Rhea specifically. After you've given her the silver harmonica, you can give her this paper and she will play a song for you. This is optional, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but it is worth an achievement, and it's just kind of a little optional side quest, so go ahead and equip that, stand right next to Rhea, and then use it. That poem, it's something I wrote a long time ago. Adel gave the piece of paper to Rhea. Thank you very much. Now, it doesn't appear that that is going to do anything, but in order for her to read the poem, what you have to do is leave the area. So I will try my best to read this as it comes up. Rhea will stare off at Darm Tower in the distance and she will recite her poem to us. The eastern sky is stained in red, the western sky is blue. Between the lands of light and shade, my dreams are born anew. I hear the melody of birds and taste the fresh spring air. I see the silent rhoda tree and feel I've been there. Its sight is all I'd ever need to cry until the dawn. The lost serenity of man depicted thereupon. I feel the bird, its wings aloft, en route to clearer skies. Two moons that wax and wane out west, while east the sun doth rise. I love poems that rhyme. Fina, the wheel of fate has begun to turn once more. Even if I alone were to awaken my destiny, I wish the dream could have continued for you forever. But sadly, we both have our roles to play, you and I. And unless you give her that piece of paper, you won't hear any mention of Fina, so that's also sort of an interesting addition that you may or may not be able to hear otherwise. That's the last thing that we can do with Rhea. She doesn't mention anything else about Fina or about her fate or anything else, but it's sort of clear that she knows a little bit more than what she's telling. And I have to say that her and Fina look very similar. It's possible that they may or may not be related. I'm honestly not too sure. But anyways, now that that is done, what we need to do is go and speak to the rhoda tree, which kind of sounds weird. We're going to be one with nature, and we're going to go and speak with some trees. We're going to go back to the rhoda tree that is south of Zepik Village. This is near where we picked up that piece of paper. Now that we've given the silver harmonica to Rhea and we have eaten the rhoda tree seed, we should be able to converse with the rhoda tree. And after doing so, we are going to get one of the best weapons in the game. And this is also pretty much required to finish up the game, so you sort of need to do this if you want to really go on ahead and make really good progress throughout. Now the rhoda tree is here somewhere. We were just here not too long ago. I think I have to go down one more screen. And here it is. So this time, when Adel looks up at the rhoda tree, we'll be able to get something a little bit different. Ah. Darkness again stirs in the world. It brings another nightmare to Ys. O swordsman, thy journey begins now. The silver light beckons both hope and destruction. Lose not thy way, lose not thy will. Leave thy heart open to the possibilities. Silver light began to spill out from the roots of the great tree, and we are awarded the Silver Sword. This is sort of the final piece in and amongst the rest of our silver equipment. We now have the Silver Sword, the Silver Shield, and the Silver Armor. And as you can see, that Silver Sword is going to give us quite an expansion on our already powerful attack, which is absolutely fantastic. That is going to make the rest of the game easier, and it's also going to make our return to Raston Mine a heck of a lot easier as well. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load a file. I went ahead and I went back to Raston Mine after grabbing the Silver Sword, and I grinded up to the max level. We are now level 10. I also went ahead off screen, and after getting a bunch of my money, I went and I purchased the rest of the items that were missing on the equipment screen. So I went ahead and I purchased the middle shield and the large shield. That way we've got a nice complete looking screen, and buying the shield and the armor that you're missing may not be a bad idea if you have the extra cash. It may or may not be useful a little bit later. I've come back to the spot where we need to head down the staircase in order to advance on in Raston Mine. This is on the 2nd floor. And going down the stairs will bring us to the 3rd floor. And then from there, we can continue onwards and we can finish this place up. This floor has new enemies, so beware of that. These ones are really easy to grind up on. This is probably where you want to do the rest of your experience grinding after you've got the Silver Sword. These ones are going to be worth quite a bit more experience than the counterparts we've been seeing in the other parts of Raston Mine. At the first fork, what you're going to do is continue on to the west. The northern fork has nothing. Follow it along. Head north again to see this enemy guarding the doorway. Get rid of it. Follow it through. And there is the Dharm key in this chest. That is, of course, another key item. Very important. We're going to need that in order to access Raston Mine's boss, so make sure you pick that up. This area is a lot simpler than the other couple of floors of Raston Mine, so if you're tired of getting lost like I was, fear not. This area is not nearly as bad as the other parts of the mine. At this fork, instead of going southeast, we're going to go southwest. I do believe there is a chest over here. There's a heal potion in it. Now, unfortunately, I have one in my inventory already, so I'm not able to pick that up. And I shouldn't really need heal potions at this point in the game because I do have my heal ring, so that potion will probably just stay in my inventory for quite some time. I don't know that I'll ever have a chance to use it. So continue on southeast after picking up that chest, and then all you really have to do is follow the path. It'll snake around. Pretty self-explanatory. Watching out for the enemies along the way. Again, very tight sort of corridors. You gotta be really careful not to get rushed by any of the enemies. And then finally, at the very end, is the big door. If you have your Dharm key, you can go through here and we can fight the boss of Raston Mine, which I am not looking forward to. This boss is hell. It is so difficult. And at this point, because I'm grinded up all the way to level 10, there is no amount of grinding that can save my life. At this point in the game, from this point onwards, I'm at max level, so now I just have to go on through and try and defeat these bosses with as much skill and patience as I possibly can. So at this point, I would 100% recommend that you have your silver equipment on. It doesn't matter which ring you have on because, again, rings have no effect in boss battles. Being level 10 at this point is also pretty highly recommended because we are going to be going into our final dungeon soon. And after that, make a save, make sure you're fully healed, and then continue on into the boss room when you think you're ready. Now this boss is probably going to take me a couple of tries. Like I said, very, very difficult. A very unpredictable attack pattern and just really a huge pain in the ass. So go ahead and try and open up that chest, which will call our boss to appear. Now what happens is this guy will explode into a big pile of bats. And what you have to do is avoid the bats because they will attack you and hurt you. And what you want to try and do is get the bats to group together, and that will cause the boss to appear. So this is really a whole bunch of running around and trying your very hardest not to get hit. And what I like to do is try and run just basically in a circle. The best way I find to get the boss to appear is in corners. And I prefer the top corner because I find that hitting the boss from behind doesn't work very well at all. I'm only ever really successful trying to hit him on the side or in the front. And you're only going to be able to get one hit off on the boss before he goes back into his bat form. So again, this is very, very slow, very tedious, and those bats hurt a whole heck of a lot. Not really a lot of strategy to this in hindsight, it's just a lot of sort of getting lucky in my opinion, because sometimes those bats will stay pretty far away from you and you get kind of lucky, and then other times you just get really unlucky and you have to try and avoid them the best that you possibly can. I don't think there's any other strategy for this boss that I can think of. Those are kind of the attack patterns that I've noticed with this guy. And because you don't have any of those rings taking effect, that makes this really, really difficult. It would be very nice if you could have the shield ring or something like that in this fight. Just because those bats shave off so much health, it's just so beyond ridiculous. And I can't even imagine what this boss would be like playing on hard or nightmare difficulty, because I find this guy difficult even just on normal or easy difficulty. The silver sword, however, helps a lot. I can't imagine what this boss would be like if you were trying to attack it just with like your Talwar or, God forbid, your longsword. I don't even think you'd be able to do any damage if you had your longsword equipped. I'm actually doing a lot better than I thought I would do, but I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to defeat this guy. I'm going to have to get really lucky here. The other unfortunate thing about this boss is that he has such a small attack window that you want to be far away enough from him that he doesn't harm you with those bats, but you want to be close enough so that when he does appear, you actually get a chance to attack him. As you can see, I have had a lot of missed opportunities to attack him just because I've been trying so desperately to stay away from those bats. Now I'm assuming that he's going to get me before I can get him because I have one more hit and I'm dead. Like that. So what I'll probably do is just attempt this again. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just splice in my successful attempt and then I'll meet you guys back here when I've actually managed to defeat the boss. So there's our first recorded death on camera. Like I said, very, very tough boss. If you can get that boss beat on your first try, absolutely 100% kudos to you. That is probably going to be really useful when attempting the rest of the game because there are a lot of hard bosses in this game upcoming. I'm going to try my luck at that boss again, and I will see you guys in the next video after I have hopefully got that guy beaten. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that I will see you next time.